This latest deployment comes as new video shows buses full of migrants returning to Mexico from American detention centers after the Department of Homeland Security reinstated the Remain in Mexico policy. That means folks have to sit in Mexico while awaiting for any applications to get into the U.S. Under the program, officials can send asylum applicants back while they wait their day in court. News Nation's Jorge Ventura is live at the border in Texas tonight. And Jorge, what are you seeing on the ground, and where are these buses with these migrants heading back to Mexico coming from?
So Elizabeth, here I'm right outside the McAllen Hidalgo port of entry. Right across this is Reynosa, Mexico, and on Tuesday we witnessed buses of Mexican nationals deported back to Mexico. It's the first deportees under the Trump administration. We are now learning that those Mexican nationals were coming from the Donna and McAllen migrant detention centers right here in South Texas. And according to officials, they say it is a normal routine, but Mexican officials say they expect those scenes to ramp up dramatically of Mexican deportees heading back to Mexico, as well as as well as foreign nationals.
Hay mucha migra y todos están cayendo. No les recomiendo cruzar porque hay un chingo de migra.
All right, guys, so the mass deportation revolution is being televised. What you guys just saw there were illegal immigrants who were deported by the Trump administration, telling migrants, their amigos on the other side of the border, hey, don't come, right? Don't come. Not good, okay? Not good to come to the United States. You will be deported, okay? That's the exact type of imagery that we need, okay? I said this before the mass deportations happened. I said, listen, they have to be televised. That's how you make the mass deportations more effective, because a lot of people will self-deport, okay? They'll decide that, you know what? I don't want to be caught up in one of these ICE sweeps. I'm out, right? I'm going. Okay, and you know the operation is going well because you have liberals and progressives boohoo, whining, and crying about the possibility of ICE raiding their workplace or even their school. Okay, as you have woke teachers taken to the internet, TikTok, to essentially threaten ICE and to talk about how they're going to push back against any potential ICE raid that happens at their school. Take a look.
ICE can now raid classrooms, and as a high school teacher, I just want to make one thing clear. If someone tries to come in my classroom and take one of my students, one of us isn't leaving the classroom. Play with me.
I just want to say with my entire fucking chest and 10 toes down on my shitty broken tile classroom floor that it will be a cold, no, frozen day in hell before someone from ICE comes in my classroom to remove a student that they suspect is undocumented first, because I have no undocumented students. What are you talking about? Second, even if I did, 1982 Plyer versus Doe says that it does not matter. Everyone is entitled to a fair and a free, appropriate education. And that's what I'm here to do. I am so sorry I can't come to my door right now. We're learning. We're doing class stuff. You're going to have to come back later. And by later, I mean never, because there are hills that I will die on, and this is one.
ICE in Chicago with my students? No, for all, I've gotten a whole bunch of messages from people, like, and I'm so appreciative of you, but baby, it would never. You think I'd be scared of you trying to come up in my school? You don't think I already have a plan and a backup plan and 56 doors in the building and 17 routes on how to get to each one and backup on backup on backup of contacts to make sure that their parents aren't the ones showing up? I mean, no offense, the district can give us training on what we're supposed to do over and over and over again, and they have, by the way. But I got my own plan. Because there's no way. There's no way. Yeah, ever touching one of my kids. Ever. Never. Never touching one of my students. And never. That's... Hello, God? Someone needs to talk to you, because that's who you're going to talk to first before you ever touch one of my kids. because I don't play about mine and never have. And if you've been around for a while, you know that. Baby, I've written a manifesto up here on what I would do.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. Okay, these deranged liberal women apparently believe that they can take on ICE. Okay, they're essentially threatening ICE if ICE decides to show up to their door to deport one of their kids, okay, aka a child that is here illegally. And what really is fascinating about the left, okay, in this situation is that they claim they don't want family separation. So again, you would think that they would agree with deporting the family altogether, okay, deporting the kid as well too, if they don't want family separation, but apparently they are pro-family separation. But they can't have their cake and eat it too, okay? Unfortunately for these leftists, if you don't want the families to be separated, then you got to allow the kids to be deported with the parents. So that being said, on CNN, they are feigning outrage over the mass deportations by essentially questioning whether or not ICE is doing anything illegal and whether or not these mass deportations are politically motivated, because a lot of them seem to be happening in these liberal sanctuary cities.
Your reaction to seeing these photos from the White House, they say that are military planes deployed for these deportations. And I guess one of the things that we should talk about, shouldn't the White House or the administration be giving some kind of access to independent journalists so we can witness this firsthand as opposed to getting these takeouts from the White House?
I mean, I think press access for this is going to be very important. But I think we also need to really try and get context and understand what is happening and what is different than what we are seeing before. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, came out with a statement that said that they had arrested 538 people yesterday. And that is about double what we have seen previously. So indeed, we are now seeing stepped up enforcement. There has been some allegations that they are going into private places and not using warrants. That is illegal. So again, is that different? What are we seeing that is actually different? And that's going to be the thing that's going to tell us if this is actually effective, who they're targeting, and where are they targeting people. One of the concerns about this is that they're really going to be targeting people in blue cities and blue states. That is different than what we saw during the first Trump administration, where they were doing raids in North Dakota and red states and rural areas. This seems to be targeted in places that are blue states. So what does that tell us? Does that tell us that this is politically motivated, that they're trying to instill fear in immigrant communities in blue areas as opposed to red areas? You know, all of these things, as we're looking at this enforcement operation, we have to really think about what it means and what is the administration actually trying to achieve.
Yeah, I think it's very clear what the administration is trying to achieve. They're trying to deport as many illegal immigrants as possible. Preferably those who are violent criminals first. They are the priority. And the reason why they are targeting blue cities and sanctuary cities is because that's where a vast majority of the criminals are, because those cities are designed to protect the criminals. Again, this is common sense. I don't understand why this so-called journalist, this activist, Lulu Garcia Navarro, doesn't understand basic logic, right? When it comes to why is it that the sanctuary cities seem to be a target. It's not politically motivated. It's simply motivated by the fact that these are the cities where the illegal immigrant criminals are operating in, because Democrats and their laws allow them to do so, right? And that's the part of this that I don't understand in regards to why is it that the left and the liberal media, they continue to push back against what the American people voted for. The people being arrested, detained, and deported came into this country illegally. A lot of them have committed heinous crimes against women and children, but for whatever reason, these people, they're not concerned about that at all, right? Democrats claim that they're concerned about ICE doing these raids and innocent illegal immigrants get swept up in the ICE raids. This is what they claim they're concerned about. Take a look.
Aaron, the officials here, the Illinois governor, Chicago's mayor, people I've spoken with, other, the congressman who represents this area, they have all made very clear they have no problem with these stepped up enforcements against violent criminals. But what they are very concerned about is that these enforcements are also going to capture people who otherwise have no criminal record. And so that is the major concern here. They say outreach is absolutely critical. So what the Chicago City city of Chicago did today, Aaron, was unveil a Chicago Transit Authority-wide video system display that is a Know Your Rights display. Again, that is going to be out throughout the Chicago Transit Authority system. Aaron, a lot of major questions remain, though.
Yeah, so I want you guys to understand how ass backwards the Democrat Party is, okay, when it comes to this issue. They claim that their main concern against the ICE raids is not ICE sweeping up the illegal immigrants who have committed violent crimes, which, by the way, if they actually really were concerned about that, then the illegal immigrants who committed violent crimes would have been detained in jail, right, in the local jails, okay, if they actually really agreed with that, okay, but they don't do that, which is why they're on the street, which is why the ICE raid must be conducted. But see, the problem is that when ICE conducts these raids, okay, typically these illegals are hanging out with other illegals, right, other amigos, right, and the amigos get swept up as well too, and Democrats claim, well, we don't like that, right, we're against that. But if Democrats didn't have these sanctuary city policies, if they actually cooperated with the federal government, then these ICE raids would be less necessary, right? You wouldn't see as many of them because the police, local law enforcement, would actually be the first line of defense. And when they arrest a violent criminal, they would hold that criminal in the jail, and then ICE would just go to the jail and pick up the illegal, right? That's what would happen. But because of their own policies, they are actually promoting and incentivizing what they claim they're against. And that's the whole part about this that blows my mind when it comes to these Democrats. They will say one thing, but when it comes to policy and what they actually do, it is the exact opposite of what they say. If they really were so concerned about the innocent illegal immigrants getting swept up, then they would work with the federal government, and that wouldn't happen. But due to their refusal to work with the federal government, this is why the raids are happening. So again, what Democrats really want is that they want an American citizen to get caught up in a raid, and then they want to point to that and say, see, this is why it's bad, in an effort to play a political game to turn the public against Trump and these mass deportations. So that's what I'm telling you guys. There are going to be stories that come out about American citizens who get swept up in these raids. And the play here from Democrats is to say, well, see, this is racism. They're going after people just because they look like they're Mexicans.
So sending a very extreme message to a lot of people who are really scared.
Very, very, very scared. And I might add that when you look at the fact that there's a serious element of profiling here, that we're looking for people of a certain black or brown color, when we're looking at the fact that this is a president who has told law enforcement be tougher on people and don't even put their heads down when you're throwing them into police vans. He's openly endorsed police brutality, so I would assume that would go with ICE as well. It's a nightmare for the civil liberties and civil rights of people. Coming on the back of him trying to deal with those that are born here being denied citizenship, going back to the Dred Scott decision. So I think that if this was a cocktail, it would be all of the toxic, poisonous things you would not want to drink. And I think that he's doing this, and he hasn't even been president for a week.
Boom. Boom. That's the play here, guys. And that's the point of this video. The point of this video is to educate you guys on how Democrats enact policies that will incentivize something happening that they claim they don't want, but yet their policies will incentivize that happening. And then when it happens, they can use that as a way to smear Trump. That's the politics going on here. So don't fall for it, okay? There will be stories about U.S. citizens get swept up, but it's not the fault of the Trump administration and Tom Homan. It's the Democrats' fault, right? Every American citizen that gets swept up in these raids, it is the fault of the Democrats because of their refusal to cooperate with law enforcement, which is what Tom Homan has been trying to explain for the last 2 months.
What is that looking like in real time? Let's discuss with the White House border czar, Tom Homan. Congratulations on beginning the actual work, and thank you for joining me as promised.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
Tom, let's look at it two ways. One group looks at what you're doing and says, yeah, this is what ICE always does. His guys rounded up 370 people or so During the Biden administration, they rounded up 300 something a day. This isn't really that different. How is it different?
Well, look, the arrests are a lot higher than were the Biden administration. And we're out there. We just started this nationwide operation. And right now, in the first couple of days, we're at over 3,000 criminals arrested. And that's a significant impact on public safety. The thing we're doing different from the Biden administration is we're not holding ICE to a lower standard. Under the Mayorkas memorandum, ICE wasn't able to arrest all the public safety threats in the country. Like you said earlier, they had to be convicted of a serious crime. There's nothing in the Immigration and Nationality Act that says you got to be convicted of a crime if you're here illegally to be removed. You can be removed simply for being illegally. So we've told ICE to concentrate out of the gate. As I told you in the last show, our focus is on arresting public safety threats and national security threats. That's exactly what we're doing now.
Let me ask you about that. The concern of the Democrats is you're going to round up dreamers, and you're going to round up people who have done penny ante offenses, who are otherwise contributing here, and that's too harsh.
Well, look, the number of collateral arrests are going to be higher during this operation for one reason, and one reason only, because we're not allowed to arrest the criminal alien inside of a jail in sanctuary cities like New York and Chicago and L.A. and Portland, and the major the target-rich environments where a lot of illegal aliens domicile. They're not letting us in the county jail because of sanctuary laws. If we could arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of a jail, which is safer for the officers, safer for the aliens, safer for the community, then there'd be a lot less of those type, like you just said, low-level offenders. There'd be a lot less of them arrested. But when you force us in the community, we're going to find that guy sooner or later. It takes more time and it's less efficient than getting him in a county jail. But when we find him, he's most likely being with others. And if they're in the United States illegally, they're going to be arrested too, because we're not going to do what the Biden administration said. We're not going to say ICE can't, because the Biden administration, here's your instructions to ICE. Being in the country illegally on his own is not enough for you to effect an arrest. Ignore the law, ignore the oath you took. You need to have a serious crime. There's nothing in the law that says it, so they're going to force us in neighborhoods, and we're not going to tell ICE to turn a blind eye to an illegal alien. They're going to come too. So the sanctuary cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. More agents in the neighborhoods and more collateral arrests while we're doing this criminal operation.
Exactly. It's really that simple. But again, that's actually what they want. They want that because they want some of the collateral arrests to be American citizens and people that they can point to and say, oh, well, this is why this is bad. They're just targeting people based off race. This is what racism leads to. Americans getting swept up in these deportation raids. Don't fall for the trick. Okay? Because, I mean, again, it's going to happen. But understand, it's not the fault of Trump. It's not the fault of Tom Homan. It is the fault of the Democrat Party. Okay? This is politics. And this is a political game. So that's the point of this video. I want people to understand that Democrats, again, they're trying to turn the public opinion against Trump by essentially trying to set up Tom Homan and the ICE agents to do something controversial that they can then point to and cry about. But we cannot fall for the fake tears. We cannot fall for the fake outrage, okay? They want you to be upset. They want you to have a queasy feeling in your stomach and to say, I don't know about this, blah, blah. They want you to second guess it, to question it. They want to pull at your heartstrings because they can't win the argument with facts, right? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, people understand that this has to happen, that we have to clean up this illegal immigration problem. And yeah, arrests are going to have to be made. And, some of these arrests are going to be controversial, but it's for the greater good, right? It's for the safety and security of this country. So ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm excited to see the raids. I really believe that they should make a TV show that documented the raids. I think it would be the highest rated news show probably ever, okay? Much higher viewership than CNN and MSNBC combined. No doubt in my mind. It'd be a great idea. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.